Hello tailoring talkers, welcome back to the channel. The eagle-eyed among you will have already spotted that this is not a BMW and therefore it is not my G87 M2. It's an Audi. So what on earth have I been up to? Let's find out. The lack of technology. Bliss. Welcome back everyone. It's been a little while since we've done anything in a car. And I'm sure if you're watching this and you're part of the Tailoring Talk magazine auto community, in particular my BMW M2 G87 friends, you'll be wondering what on earth is going on. Now, don't worry, the G87 is safely on the driveway. Unfortunately, so is the Hyundai Ioniq, but this is a new addition. So, what is it? It's an Audi TT Mk2 2014, so one of the last of the TT Mk2s before they switched to the Mark III. It's the 2-litre TFSI petrol with the automatic gearbox, and in actual fact I used to own exactly this model, except this one has Quattro, my one didn't. It was Samoan orange and it was a 2013 that I bought around 2015, 2016, and then I promptly sold it and upgraded to the Mark III. That was the TTS, which was a fantastic car. Now those of you that will have seen the Ioniq videos recently will know that we've had some problems with that car. We were caught short. My wife really does rely on her car to get around. So what I've done, especially as it's our wedding anniversary coming up, and I've been keeping an eye on these Mark II models for some time, trying to find, ideally, the car that I actually sold, but find something that was as close to it as possible, low mileage, good condition. My wife did not want me to sell that car when I got rid of it and chopped it in for the TTS. She was gutted. Although it wasn't her car at the time, she had, I think it was a BMW 3 Series, a 318D, but she did drive my Mark II TT from time to time. After the problems with the Ioniq, and we think that all Hyundai have done is a software update to shut us up. They have not actually changed the part under the recall, which is what they were supposed to do. So we are a little bit wary that that car is going to go. We do not use it for long distance drives anymore. So the other benefit of her having this will be that she's got, quote unquote, a more reliable car, or one that we can have more confidence in anyway for longer trips, which she does need to do. For me personally, obviously the M2 is my baby. It's my daily driver. I'm not really interested in driving anything else, but she's away this week. It's our anniversary in 2 weeks' time when I will present it to her. I hope that she will be over the moon, shocked, surprised in a good way, and I'll get lots of brownie points. I mean, she will clip me around the ear, but overall I'm hoping on balance that she'll be happy. But for me personally, I'm really pleased to be back in this car. It is identical to the one that I sold in every way apart from color and the fact that it has the Quattro system. My previous car had a stage 1, so it was taken from just over 200 horsepower to near 280, but it was front wheel drive, which meant that when you hit the gas it slid around all over the place, couldn't gain traction for the first few seconds, but when it did, off it went, because power to weight ratio, it's just such a well balanced sports car. Now this is stock, it's 200 just over 200 horsepower. I'll put the stats up on the screen because it's been so long since I've been in the Audi world. I can't really remember exactly what the numbers are, but I mean it's around probably just over 200 horsepower, torque numbers somewhere around 300. It's you know, not gonna knock your bollocks off. 0 to 60 about 5.7 seconds. Compare that to the M2, and this thing is, you know, it's a larder. But as I said before, it's just a fantastic, well-balanced, fun sports car that has got a level of practicality. It has got lots and lots of room up front in the cabin. It's got 2 back seats, and you can definitely squeeze a couple of adults in there, because I used to do that back in the day. And it's got a very, very good sized boot. Because of the way the hatch works on these things, the actual boot is very, very easy to get in and out of, much easier than the Supra. And with the back seats down, I remember moving home twice with both the Mark II and the Mark III TTs that I had. They just seem to be cavernous. With the back seat down, you can get so much into these cars. Now, I was very lucky to find this example. Values have gone up a little bit on very, very good condition, low mileage TTs, especially as now the TT is defunct, discontinued. They're not making them anymore. And this being from that last series of Mark IIs in 2014, before they made the shift to the Mark III, these, if well preserved, are just that little bit more. So, you know, this is in pretty much mint condition, apart from one little scuff on the left front passenger side alloy, which is nothing that can't be sorted out. Everything else is absolutely pristine. There's no curbing on the alloys. There's absolutely no scratches or stone chips and things in the paintwork. The car's been very well maintained. The interior is absolutely immaculate. It doesn't obviously have the new car smell anymore, but you don't expect that with a car that is 11 years old. One lady owner from new, who it looks like sort of just drove it as a sort of part-time car, it's only got 27,621 miles on it as I talk to you here right now. It's got the original infotainment system, but with the Audi multimedia and navigation. I have not set anything up with that because we're also in an iPhone launch week, so I'm going to be changing all my devices anyway. And in any case, as I bought this for my wife, I think that she should be the one to pair her phone with it before anyone else. I think it will be a car that I'm going to make use out of, even though the M2 is my first love and probably always will be. The TT, being a lot less powered, is just even more usable than the M2 for just short little trips, going to get a little bit of shopping 5 minutes down the road, popping round to see your friends who aren't that far away, driving to the station and leaving the car there. I think I'd rather risk leaving this on the road near the station than the M2. But it is just so usable, and also it's just nice to be in something that comes from a time where, in my opinion, that period from the sort of late 2000s to the mid 2010s was just perfect in terms of technology. You've still got analog dials with a digital speedometer. That's absolutely fine. You've got an analog fuel gauge here. You've got an analog temperature gauge. Over here, you've got some technology with the navigation system. And there we go, muscle memory. Don't need to read the manual to remember how to use it. We've got physical knobs for the climate control and the air conditioning. The mirrors on this car are not power folding. You can convert them with a kit very easily, but I've been quite happy when parking this just to pop the mirror in gently with my hands. There are only 4 buttons on the steering wheel. We have got the voice control button, which I never used on the old one because it didn't work very well, and I'll certainly never use it on this one. We've got volume up and down, an up and down rocker, which presumably is for changing radio stations or cycling through your music tracks. And then we've got a mode button, which basically just changes what you're seeing on the little LCD display here in front of me. It might be LED actually, but there we go. I can change between what's on the phone and then the radio and the outside temperature. And that's it. The seats have Alcantara upholstery through the middle and the bolsters are leather. The Alcantara is perforated. The nice thing, I do miss this in the M2 actually. I wish I had Alcantara running down the middle because it does give a bit of grip and helps to just keep you in place. The seats in the TT are as comfortable as I remember them being in my old one. In fact, when they moved to the Mark III, I kind of remember the seats in the Mark III just being a little bit more uncomfortable. But the Mark II was a sweet spot. They just seem to get everything right with this car. The whole car is based on the Golf platform, specifically the Golf R, and this engine is infinitely tunable. I may well do just a basic stage 1 map, which will take this to 300 horsepower, which is TTS territory, and I think would be plenty for this car. It's riding on just standard brakes, so I would need to upgrade the braking system really if I were going to take it any more than that. The suspension setup is really, really cute. It actually sits beautifully, actually much better than my M2. My M2 is sitting too high, which is why I'm going to be dropping it in October. Stay tuned and make sure you subscribe for that video. But the TT, the way they set this car up stock with the springs, it just looks absolutely perfect. It looks like it's been lowered, but it hasn't. And then because this is the special black edition, which Audi are famous for doing every time they are going to run a car out of existence, it comes with what would have been fully loaded pretty much at the time, and rather than the electronic sticky outy spoiler thing, it comes with a proper fixed RS spoiler. Don't know if the microphone's going to pick me up over all this rain. It's absolutely torrential. But it is a really, really nice surprise that some 8-9 years on from owning a car exactly like this, that I've been able to just get it in, drive it, and actually not wonder where anything is. And we've also got an actual pulley up handbrake. I know my wife is really gonna love that, because that is the one thing she misses about driving modern cars. Oh, that hellstorm seems to have calmed down a little bit. But one thing it has reminded me is that the TT is a car that is quite exposed to the elements. It does let a lot of outside and road noise in. But that's a small price to pay for something that's as fun to drive as this thing is. I'm so happy to be back behind the wheel of that Mark II. I mean, my wife was right at the time. I should never have let that car go. But as my friend Trevor from Rolling Slow Media says, you have a car for a few years, you enjoy it, you make your memories, and then eventually it's time to move on. Although we do seem to be in this era of looking and going back. Cassettes and cassette players are on sale again. Vinyl sales have resurged over the last few years. And I genuinely think that in this malaise of the over-tech burdened modern car with all their restrictions and compliancy laws, which means that they just shout at you all the time, binging and bonging. No matter what you're doing or what's going on around you, there's less reliance on using your eyes and your ears and turning your neck to look and see what's going on around you. And there is so much reliance. I see this especially with Tesla drivers more than anyone else. And before anyone asks me, I cycle, I motorcycle, I drive, I walk, I take public transport here in London, and I have genuinely seen it all over a very long period of time. And I see it most with Tesla drivers, that they very rarely look because they're relying on all that amazing technology in their cars to do all the looking and thinking for them. And we've just lost that art of just driving properly. Right, errand run. Off we go again. Someone is waiting behind me to get into the space. However, having said all of that about modern cars, one thing that I miss in this one is that when you're reversing, it just does the beepy beepy thing, and it doesn't have a reversing camera. And I've got so used to having a reversing camera on obviously all of my cars since the Mark III TTS. And then Carolina's Hyundai Ioniq 6 has got their very sophisticated 3D view where when you start reversing, it shows you two views. It shows you an animated view of your car moving. It's almost like a cartoon illustration. And it also shows you a bird's eye view, so you can sort of see it from up in the sky. So maneuvering into tight spaces and so on is very, very easy in that car. But then you need camera systems like that on an Ioniq 6 because it is an absolute boat. Okay, so this was meant to be a quick sort of go and run an errand and then get back home, but just gonna go up the road a little bit and then we'll drop this into sport mode and give it a little bit of power, see what it can do. It's very, very quiet. The M2 just rumbles and growls and snarls, whereas this Mark II TT is just very sedate, very polite, it's very quiet, very unassuming. It looks very, very sporty. I mean, when you look at this car from the outside, it looks tremendous. As someone who's involved with design for clothing and so on in my day job, as some of you know, I always admire particularly Porsches. Although I would never own one, because most people I know with Porsches seem to spend a lot of time without them. They seem to keep going back to garages. You can't deny that the design of most Porsches they're just beautiful. Their lines, the way that everything on them is drawn, it looks like art. And for me, the TT Mk2 had an essence of that design philosophy borrowed from their bigger cousins. Country roads, this is what we want, but we need to get rid of the smart car in front of us that is doing 30 miles an hour on a 60 road. Bear with me. So if any of you are watching this that are either curious or you are Mark II owners, do get in touch in the comments. For anyone else watching this that drives a modern car, do you, like me, kind of miss that sort of era from 15 to 20 years ago where there was less technology on them? It'll be such a treat for me to borrow this TT, take a break from the M2 every now and then, and just have some lower powered fun. Okay, here we go. Whoa! Haha! What a contrast! In normal mode, this car, as I said before, is so compliant, it's so polite, is the best way to say it, where the M2 is just a bully. But you drop this into sport mode and oh my god, it wakes up. And I can already feel the difference between this and my old Mark II that didn't have Quattro. This thing that just sticks to the asphalt like super glue. Now compared to the M2, it doesn't feel as tight. There is a bit of body roll and a bit of lean and a bit of swerve. The Quattro system definitely helps with evening some of that out. But boy, the difference between standard mode in this car and sport mode is night and day. This is so much. Do you know what? I think coming from the M2, I would just leave this in sport mode all the time. I think there's definitely got to be some tinkering around with the exhaust system just to give this a little bit more of a grunty sort of note when you hit that accelerator. But my oh my, when you drop this into sport mode, it really does come alive. And I think for a car that's going to be used around Hertfordshire country roads, a bit of motorway driving, and a lot of in London running around, I'm not even sure a stage 1 is necessary. But then I'm so torn, because with a few mods, this would be an amazing track car. I could just imagine shooting around Goodwood, taking that really tight, annoying chicane and hairpin in this absolute stunning little package of a sports car. Now, the TT generally has been dismissed over the years as a hairdresser's car. If you're a man that drives a TT, you're not a man. And I always dismissed those insults and barbs as just people being a little bit jealous. I mean, my Mark II TT was absolutely stunning, and you know what? My Mark III was as well. I don't think it looked quite as good as that Mark II. That paintwork, that Samoan orange was absolutely gorgeous, and there were only 2 of those cars in that colour in this country. One was in Scotland and the other one was mine. Actually, do you know what? In sport mode, stock, this car is perfect. It's got just enough acceleration, it's responsive, you hit the accelerator and the car answers you straight away. And because it's in this nice tight platform based on the Golf, the legendary Golf, it's so maneuverable, it's so capable for a mid-range sports car. I've said when it comes to the M2, there's nothing else that I would want to drive or look at. But in taking on this side project to find a backup car for my dear wife, unexpectedly, I've found a car. I've gone back in time and found a car that would make me cheat on my M2. She is absolutely gonna love this. She loves driving and she's always wanted a sporty car, but she's been quite happy to rely on borrowing whatever I happen to be driving at the time. And I've always been more than happy for her to, joking aside. I don't even know if I can wait for 2 weeks to tell her about this. I know the morning of our anniversary, when I get up super early to go and park this on the drive and then bring her outside and unveil it to her, I think she's going to be gobsmacked, but she's going to be so happy and she's going to be so excited to get behind the wheel of this absolutely wonderful little car. What a bargain. And again, having been in here for about half an hour, 40 minutes on this drive, it's so comfortable. So comfortable. It's just, these seats are fantastic. They've got just enough support on the bolsters to kind of keep you in place. The Alcantara perforated upholstery running through the center really helps provide that little bit of friction just to keep you locked in your seat. And the cushioning and support inside, whatever foam they've used, has held up so well. Okay, this car's only done 27,000 miles, but it's held up so well. So many cars you see on the market, after even 20,000 miles, the leather has started to split and crack and loosen up, and you can see where the foam has started to sag because the cloth or the leather interior has just started to wrinkle in places. But this has just held up so well. And did I say there's a handbrake here? Actual handbrake. So there we go. I hope that the sun stays out long enough for me to take some B-roll so I can get this video out to you as soon as possible. I'm so excited to share this car with you, and also for you to let me know what you think. I don't know about you, but BMWs aside, within the Audi stable, I would take this over a Porsche any day. And I know there are people that will be screaming at me and will be typing in the comments, how can you say that? The Porsche is the ultimate. Listen, I think driving is all about how you feel and how you feel connected to the vehicle. I have driven a 911 Turbo S at Silverstone. Amazing piece of machinery, absolutely amazing. But when I think that that car cost probably 160 grand, and this cost less than 10% of that, I've got to say, with a few mods, I would take this over a Cayman. And I know the Cayman is a wonderful car, do not get me wrong. But if you're on a budget, if you don't have tens and tens of thousands of pounds to spend, I think you could do a lot worse than going on the used market and trying to find yourself one of the last Mark II Audi TTs. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. If you hit the, I believe it's the supers button, that will create a fan wave. It's a new feature on YouTube that I haven't quite worked out, but that will signal to YouTube that you love the channel and you love the content, and they will push it out to more people, and you will really be supporting us in a great way. If you are excited to see what I'm going to be up to with the M2, it's booked in at Evolve Automotive for mid-October. So just hit that bell button so you don't miss anything, and hit subscribe. It really, really helps you to support the channel, and most importantly, get involved in the comments. What car do you drive, or what old car, I'm not talking about modern cars, what car from the 2010s or the 2000s or even the 90s would you love to get your hands on? And tell us why. And let's have a good old chat about it, and let's reminisce in the comments. I'm Roberto. This has been another motoring edition of the Tailoring Talk magazine. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.